It's among the top 200 universities in the world, but staff at Reading believe they're facing job cuts and department closures. Officials from the University and College Union have told BBC South that there is widespread anxiety among staff and called on the university to be more open about its plans. Vice-Chancellor Gordon Marshall, the man responsible for running the university, has told senior staff that it faces financial problems over pensions and staff pay. The university said today that while it couldn't rule out job losses or even department closures, over the next few years they would be a last resort. But the union warned there was concern as to whether Reading can sustain its academic credentials. Ben Moore has this exclusive report.
No to closure! No to closure! Yes to physics!
2 years ago, the University of Reading closed its physics department. 33 staff were made redundant. 2 weeks ago, it was announced the School of Social Care will close in 2011. 35 will lose their jobs. Now staff are concerned there could be more to come.
Every head of school, which is what each department is called, was called in and told that there was likely to be a very poor settlement from HEFC next week. And because of that, they were told that there were going to be swinging cuts throughout the university, focusing on the sciences, but also the social sciences and languages. In other words, right across the piece, taking an axe to the university's lifeblood.
The university, like others in the UK, gets most of its funding from its research. That's how it makes money. HEFC, the Higher Education Funding Council for England, provides some of that cash based on an examination of the university. And that examination is the Research Assessment Exercise, the RAE, a copy of which I have here. It's plain to see from this that some sciences here at Reading aren't doing particularly well. Chemistry, for example, is ranked second lowest in the whole of the UK. And there is a funding shortfall to make up.
There is certainly a view that in terms of research, and we've been told this by HEFC itself, and we can see it from our own modelling, that we're in too many disciplines as far as research assessment is concerned. And we will be looking at how to concentrate our research effort. But there's lots of ways of doing that.
So you cannot promise that departments won't close and jobs will be lost?
Can you tell me that there's a university in the country that will make that promise, or a firm in the Thames Valley that will make that promise? It would be madness in the current economic climate.
However, the union says the University of Reading is not a happy campus.
I did hear from one of the tutors that the head of the university or whoever wants to focus on closing down a few departments that aren't as strong and concentrating on a few that are more people want to come along and study.
The likelihood of them actually doing that is about zero on occasions they're actually their strongest subjects.
Personally, I'm near retirement, but let's say there's a great black hole hitting the sciences, and I am worried.
The university maintains job losses are a last resort, but has not made any promises. Ben Moore, BBC South Today, Reading.
Shortly before the programme, I spoke to the Reading East MP, Rob Wilson, who's also a former student of the university. And I asked him if departments close and there are job cuts at the university, what impact that would have on the town.
Well, of course, those are all very big ifs at this stage. And I think what we all need to do is calm down and take a step back and wait for information to come into the public domain. As far as I understand it, no new job losses have been announced. No announcements have been made about departments closing. However, if that were to be the case, I think that we would need to look very carefully at what the university is proposing, because obviously if it loses critical mass as a university, if it shuts more science departments, that would be extremely damaging both for the university and its long-term prospects. But as we understand it, the unions are saying that they're expecting from a meeting that they've had, they understand that they're going to be swinging cuts throughout the university, focusing on the sciences. We know physics went 2 years ago. We know that social care school has closed down. Chemistry, as I understand it, is ranked as the second lowest in the whole of the UK. They've got to be facing some problems, even though the university deny it. There is a £2 million hole in their staff pay budget because the staff pay is going up by 5% this year instead of the 2% they'd budgeted for. And also there's a big hole in their pensions plan because they have to pay an extra £2 million into that. So there's a 5-year gap a £5 million gap that they need to fill. Now, there's also the HEFCE budget this year, which is going to be a particularly tight budget. So those three things have arrived at once, and the university has to manage that as best it can. But it must manage it in a way that does not wipe out its science structure within the university and does not wipe out the critical mass across a broad range of subjects and across its research facility within the university. Because if it did that, it would be absolutely disastrous.
Rob Wilson, thank you.